Now, the show dedicated to rebuilding Washington, D.C.'s metropolitan housing and credit markets with the timely, trusted advice you need to make the right decisions. This is the Todd Laborowitz Show.
Good afternoon. As your friend and host, Todd Laborowitz, I'm privileged to share every Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. with you on the Todd Laborowitz Show, which is part of Real Estate Radio Network here on Salem Broadcast, WRC 1260 AM. And right now with us in the studio is Shari Kurland, president of Kurland Law Group. She is a graduate of University of Illinois and Kent Law School. With her today is Shari Parish, director of loan modification, and she is a graduate of American University. Kurland Law Group is a law firm that's representing individuals and businesses. They provide distressed debt solutions and distressed real estate solutions, complex consumer bankruptcy and business bankruptcy cases, advanced foreclosure defense litigation in federal and state court, loan modifications for mortgages and short sales, state court and U.S. bankruptcy court defense litigation, including adversary proceedings, fraudulent transfer, and preference claims. What's that?
Oh, that gets very complex bankruptcy litigation when somebody tries to commit fraud and a creditor is looking to reverse the transaction. So if a debtor in a bankruptcy case induced you into lending money and they did that under false pretenses, like they said they made $1 million, but they really only made 10, you can go to bankruptcy court and force the debtor to return that money to you. And very exciting stuff.
Do you see a lot of that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. When businesses are going through difficult times, you'll see sometimes where they're not being so forthright and honest. They will go to their creditors. They will go to try to borrow money, and they will submit financial statements in support of their application that might not exactly be correct.
Okay, so you're representing the people that lend the money.
We've represented debtors to defend these kind of lawsuits, and we've represented creditors that are trying to, what the creditor usually is seeking to do is to get a court order saying that the debt's not dischargeable, which allows them to continue to attempt to collect even though the bankruptcy was filed.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's
well, you got a wide range of things. Yes, but for real estate today purposes.
And the reason, though, is this, because the typical person that comes to see us doesn't really know what solution they need. So when we're speaking to a client, we're not just selling a service. We're saying to them, come sit down, let's talk, and let's figure out what the best solution is for you given your circumstance. And I think that's a more it's a better approach for our firm, and it's a much better approach for the client because they have the comfort in knowing they're not just going to a law firm that's selling bankruptcy cases. Like you're going to walk in, and the only thing that you're going to come out with is a bankruptcy case. Whereas with our firm, we will look at all these options and then advise the client on a course that we think might be best for them, and we have the ability to provide all those services. So I think that's more helpful.
So filing bankruptcy isn't just going in and filing bankruptcy. You actually have to have a strategy in place.
A serious strategy. And there's a lot of time that we spend with clients consulting, reviewing documents, analyzing a case, talking amongst us, the attorneys and the members of our firm, to try to figure out what is the best strategy for a client given their we'll look at the tax consequences. We'll look at what the client's ultimate goal is that they want to achieve, and how to best put them in the position to take care of their problem. You really have to sit down and listen to somebody. You have to hear what are their concerns, what do they really want, because people don't generally come in and tell you what they really want. You have to have that conversation and pull that information out first.
What's your ideal kind of client? It's not the one that's like $30,000 in debt and over their head, life change. Is it someone that has a lot of assets, money, and having a hard time, and they have a life change?
More money, more problems.
More money, more problems. But that seems like your ideal client is the one that is up against the wall, that is playing a big game.
I would say that we have the capability and the service to provide resolutions for people with more complex situations. If you have a simpler situation, you can find somebody that doesn't have the experience, doesn't have the qualifications that we do, and so we have the ability to help the more the higher income earner, yes.
Okay.
And the person with more assets and more businesses, we have the ability to assist. But I wouldn't say that we have an ideal client. Our ideal client is somebody that's cooperative, that we enjoy working with, who obviously we like to be paid for our service when we're performing it. But the ideal client is a big range of people.
So there is a difference between bankruptcy attorneys.
Yes.
So when someone's looking to go down that road, definitely get in touch with Kurland Law Group, because just let them explain their services that they have, and you can compare to other people, because it seems like you're taking it to the next level. We
try. I started out my career as a bankruptcy lawyer and just doing simple cases. And the wealth of knowledge is something that you accumulate over a long number of years and a lot of experience. And thankfully, we've been able to enhance and add to the services we provide as a result of that experience.
And you sounds like you got the experience, because I've never heard that before.
Thank you.
Well, by the way, if you're just tuning in, I have with me right now Shari Kurland, president of Kurland Law Group, and Shari Parish, director of loan modification. I am your host, Todd Laborwood, and you're listening to Salem Broadcast Network, WRC 1260 AM. Well, Shari, what I want to do is turn it over to you about the loan modifications, because for the show, it's hard finding someone that does loan modifications because they're popping up everywhere. The states are going after a lot of these individuals that shouldn't be practicing loan modifications or advising and so forth. You guys are with a law firm. You are within compliance with everyone. So you're the good guy.
We are.
Okay. And you help a lot of people. So what I want to know is explain the loan modification to our listeners and how you can help them.
Okay. Well, in very general terms, the loan modification will allow someone who's in their home, who wants to keep their home, to restructure the loan, become current, and stay in their home, hopefully at a much more affordable rate. So we are able to get them out of foreclosure and get their payment to a place that they can manage.
Do you have to be in foreclosure to do a loan modification?
The people that are in foreclosure seem to be the ones that get the faster help, but we have homeowners who are a month behind. We have homeowners who are 4 years behind. Just yesterday, we stopped a foreclosure sale for tomorrow for a homeowner, and now we're working on 2 more for next week. So people wait sometimes too long. They're not quite sure where to turn, but we've been very successful at stopping the sales and being able to work with the lenders.
Perfect. Now, I don't know if you guys can answer this, but there's people out there telling people to stop making payments because they're underwater and we'll take care of a short sale or this and that. Is it advised too? Is it every situation is different?
Every situation is different. However, we would never, ever tell a homeowner not to pay their mortgage. If they can pay it, they should be paying it. We will help them regardless. If they come to us and say they simply can't, well, they can't. But you're right, they have heard that from other sources. We would never say that to a client.
Well, that's refreshing to hear, because there's so many misused channels out there advising people the wrong thing.
And we hear those stories. By the time they get to us, oftentimes we're fixing a lot of bad history.
Wow. Well, what I'd like to do is offer our listeners a chance to get in touch with you. And by becoming a fan of our show at toddlaborwitt.com, that's TODDLABOR, like a woman going in labor, WIT.com. Become a fan of the show, and we'll give you access to get more information about the Kurland Law Group, and you can get in touch with Shari Kurland and Shari Parish. Before we wrap up, anything you want to share about loan modifications? I know there's a lot of them.
There's a lot, and I think the best thing is if you think you're in trouble, call. Don't wait until the day before the foreclosure sale. We can pull it off, but if the more time we have to work with the lender to save the home, the better. Don't wait.
And when they do call, it's not like they're billed right away. There's a whole...
No.
Absolutely
We're
not.
happy. I always, for every client that we've represented, I always say, if you ever have a doubt, if you ever have a concern, you ever have a question, just call. Pick up the phone, call.
Perfect.
It's free.
Well, if you have any hesitation, please give us a call and we'll put you in touch with them right away. Well, thank you for being here. And
Thank
coming
you.
up next, we have Jim Quinn from Distinctive Home Care.
You don't go through life with a paralyzing fear every time you have a financial transaction. So why is applying for a mortgage so scary? At Topaz Mortgage with Todd Laborwood, it is about educating and empowering you to get from point A to point B. Todd provides you with his exact closing cost, best interest rate, then invites you to shop around. Plus, if you call with questions, Todd picks up with the answers. Learn more at whytopaz.com. They are industry experts that care. Topaz Mortgage, NMLS 131548, licensed by the Virginia State Corporation Commission, MC 5344, Washington, D.C., MLB 131548, Maryland 18330, Todd Laborwood, NMLS 131497.